So this is Mr. Reed's maths homework, week 14. It's one of those homeworks where I've given you an A5 correction sheet. I've already marked your homework from last week, and you need to watch this video, watch me get all the questions right, pause it, correct any little mistakes you've made on the A5 sheet, and then hand it in on the usual deadline. So let's get straight on with it. And this first question here, what I'm going to do is multiply 3 times x. Multiply 3 times 2 is 6. So that's that first question done. And in fact, when you see the word expand, which is up here in the question, see that? You just multiply each time. So let's do that then. 4 times 3x is 12x. 4 multiplied by 5 is minus 20. That's the final answer there. If we do this on this next question, there's 4 things. 1, 2, 3, 4 things that I need to multiply. And if I do that, 2x plus 2 plus 4x plus 40. Collect together your x terms, you get 6x. Collect together the numbers into a separate term. 2 plus 40 is 42. 4 things, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 things to do. Let's do that then. 14x plus x there, plus 21 plus 6x plus 6. Gathering together your x terms, 20x. Gathering together your number terms, 21 plus the 6 is 27. That's the final answer there. And again, we've got 4 terms. 1, 2, 3, 4 terms in our answer here. So 8x is the first multiplication. 8 times minus 1 is minus 8. 5 times x is 5x. And 5 times minus 2 is minus 10. Take care collecting these terms. The first one's easy. 8x plus 5x is 13x. It's this next bit here, if I just circle it in red here. This bit, minus 8 minus another 10. That's minus 18 if you think about a number line. We've got a lot of students making mistakes there. Final question on this topic. 4 things to do. Multiply, 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 and multiply. So let's do that right now. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times minus 2 is minus 6. 4 times, minus 4 times x is minus 4x. And this is the bit that's caught a lot of students out. A minus times a minus is a plus. So I actually need to make sure I take that into consideration. Minus 4 times minus 3 is plus 12. There's that, plus 3x minus 4x is minus 1x, and minus 6 plus 12 is plus 6. That's the final answer to that question there. And actually, a lot of students in the class have made mistakes on this final question there. So please take care, have a look at how I did that. On to question 7. Got some questions about factorising. That's the opposite of what I was just doing. What's in both bits? Well, there is an x in here and in here, so I'm going to put x outside, leaving x plus 3 on the inside. On this next question, we've got some students in the class that have partially factorised. You've got to look for the biggest number you can think of, which is 5. That's in both parts. And also a is in both parts as well. Some of you have left that a inside your bracket, which means you've not fully factorised. If you think about this, how to solve the rest of this problem, 5a multiplies by 2 to make 10a. So actually I want a 2 there. If we do that same process again, 5a multiplies by 7b to make this bit here. So I want 7b. And that's that question done. Partial factorisation on this next question will cause you problems again. There's an x on the outside, but there's also, you've got to consider the fact that actually there is a 2 that divides into both parts here. So 2x goes on the outside. Now we multiply 2x by 8x to make 16x squared. Also multiply 2x by 3y to make 6xy. And another opportunity for partial factorisation, dropping your marks here. Both b and c are in both terms in the question, leaving a plus d on the inside of that bracket. If you're not sure why it works, all you need to do is multiply this by that, abc, and multiply that by that, bcd, and you should see that you do end up back with a question. On to question 11. Working with fractions. And you might think to yourself, well, this question is a decimal question, but actually we've talked in length in class about turning things into fractions. So 32 tenths, that's that first decimal there, and 6 tenths. Multiply the denominators together there. And if you do 32 times 6, you actually get 192. That's the final answer to the question if you want to leave it like that, or you could show off and turn it back into a decimal. 192 divided by 100 is 1.92. That's a better answer. Same again, 152 tenths divided by 4/10. And actually, we all know this now. Keep, change, flip. Keep the first fraction. Change the sign. Flip the second fraction. And this is clever now. Watch this. You can actually cross simplify. There's 110 there and 110 up there. And if I just tidy up, 152 times 1 on the top is 152. And 4 times 1 on the bottom is 4. That is technically the answer to the question, but again, I could simplify that down. You can see how many 4s are in the top, and you can see how many 4s are in the bottom, and you'll actually end up with 38 if you divide the top by 4 and then 1. 38 whole ones. The best answer I can actually write for that would be just 38 then. You don't really need over 1. So that's the answer to question 12. Question 13, 0.7 squared. You could use fractions again. 7/10 multiplied by 7/10. Remember, squaring something, you times it by itself, multiply numerators, multiply your denominators. That's the right answer. 49/100. Again, you can write it as a decimal at the end if you want to. That's probably a better answer. And I'm going to do the same thing here, but I'm going to take absolute care with this sign, minus. Don't ignore that sign. -3/10 multiplied by another one and multiplied by itself again. When you cube something, you times it by itself 3 times. Now, first thing I'm going to do is get the sign out of the way on this answer. A minus times a minus times a minus is a minus. So let's put that in there. 3 times 3 times 3 on the top is 27. 10 times 10 times 10 on the bottom is 1000. That'll do. That's the right answer. If you want to write it as a decimal, 0.027. Think about the fact that if you divide 27 by 1000, you get 0.027. That's it for 14. Moving along, nearly done now with this homework. Area questions. Now the big problem here, and I catch you out with this every time, is this is in millimetres and this is in centimetres. And so I personally would work in centimetres. So what I'm actually going to do is just write that as 2 centimetres. That's it. That's the difficult bit of the question done. Area of a rectangle, length times width, 5.2 times 2 equals 10.4. And all you do there is just put centimetres square on the end of it and stop. You don't need to turn it back into millimetres or do anything fancy with it. Same's going to happen on this next question. You notice I've got metres along the bottom here. Just look at that there. But then I've got centimetres here. Don't like the mix. So I'll just turn this height of this triangle into 7 metres. So let's do that now. You should realise that's 7 metres there, 700 centimetres. And now it's just half base times height. The area of a triangle, half the base, multiplied by the height. Half the base times the height. Now if you do the base times the height, 7 times 18, you actually get 126. So it's a half of 126. And if you half that, you get 63. We're working in metres, so do make sure you put square metres on the end. Let's keep going. Last couple of questions. A mix of units, going to put me off again there. We've got millimetres and then we've got centimetres everywhere else. Let's work in centimetres, same tactics as last time. Let's cross out this millimetres and just write that's 8 centimetres. Now everything matches, you just need to know the formula. And we've talked about this right back in September. Add the parallel sides, because it's a trapezium, multiply by the distance between, and then half it. Add the parallel sides, multiply by the distance between, and then half it. So let's try that calculation. Now the first thing I'm going to point out actually is this bit at the end here. Times in by 4 and then dividing by 2. Actually just means times by 2. That's all that means, because times in by 4 divided by 2, they sort of nearly cancel each other out. You just end up multiplying by 2 basically. So my final answer will be, brackets first, 8 add 10 times 2, 36. That's 8 add 10 is 18 times 2, 36. And I'm in centimetres, so square centimetres. Last one, designed to catch you out. The area of any triangle is half times the base times the height. Now that height is actually the height of the triangle. If I just draw it in here, there, that height there, which is given in the question, it's 8. One thing to avoid is any sort of use of any like diagonal height like that, but they're never used in the calculation. So it's this perpendicular height here, multiplied by the base of the triangle. Now the reason this catches students out is because this height is outside of the triangle and students don't really realise it's still the height. Anyway, once you do spot that, base times height is 48, half it is 24. So let's just get that answer down there. We've got half the base times the height, half of whatever that is. Well, 6 times 4 is 48. Half of 48. 24, working in metres, square metres. That's it. What I want you to do is make sure you've watched this video enough times that you can actually correct the mistakes you've made. And lots of you have gone wrong with the mix of units at the end. Some of you have gone wrong with factorising, calculating with decimals. Make sure that page, that A5 sheet I've given you, is full of purple pen corrections. That's it.